Have you ever wondered how an American jet based on Nazi research dominated Soviet MiGs in Korean skies? Or why a fighter designed with straight wings became legendary with swept ones added at the last minute? Well, buckle up, because the F-86 Sabre is the jet that saved America from Soviet air dominance and changed fighter design forever. Today, we're diving into 15 weird facts about this Korean War legend that racked up a 10-to-1 kill ratio and flew for over 40 years across multiple conflicts. And trust me, number one will show you how this single jet transformed the entire aviation industry. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's soar with the Sabre. 15. MiG Killer Record. The F-86 Sabre achieved a legendary 10-to-1 kill ratio against Soviet MiG-15S during the Korean War. American pilots claimed 792 MiGy kills while losing only 78 Sabres in air-to-air combat. This dominance is staggering considering the MiG-15 was technically superior in some ways. The Soviet jet could climb faster, turn tighter at high altitude, and had a higher service ceiling. Yet the Sabre consistently won. Why? Better pilot training, superior gun sights, and smarter tactics. American pilots were often World War II veterans with thousands of combat hours. The Sabre's advantages were subtle but crucial. Better visibility from the bubble canopy, hydraulically boosted controls for precise aiming, and radar-ranging gun sights. The kill ratio created instant legends and proved American technology could overcome Soviet numbers. 14. Nazi technology inside. The F-86's swept wings came directly from captured Nazi German research. At World War II's end, American forces seized documents from German engineers experimenting with swept-wing designs to delay shockwave formation at high speeds. North American aviation engineers were developing the F-86 when they received this captured data. The implications were immediately obvious. Straight wings would make the jet obsolete before it flew. The entire design was altered mid-development to incorporate swept wings based on German research. Without Nazi engineers' groundbreaking work, the F-86 would have been a failure. America's greatest Korean war jet fighter was built on enemy innovation. Victory sometimes requires learning from adversaries, even defeated ones. The swept wings became the defining characteristic of the jet age. 13. Straight wing prototype. The original F-86 design had straight wings, not swept. North American aviation was essentially building a jet-powered version of existing designs. This would have been catastrophic. Straight-winged jets face severe limitations at high subsonic speeds. The prototype would have been slower, less maneuverable, and completely outclassed. Then German research data arrived and panic set in. Engineers realized they were building an obsolete aircraft. The entire program was redesigned urgently. Swept wings were incorporated, requiring changes to fuselage, tail, and control systems. Wind tunnel testing started over. Production schedules slipped, but the redesign saved the program. The swept-wing F-86 could reach speeds the straight-wing version never could. It's a lucky accident that changed aviation history. Sometimes being wrong early enough to fix it saves everything. 12. Cheaper than you think. In the early 1950s, an F-86 Sabre cost approximately $178,000 per aircraft. Even accounting for inflation, that's roughly $2 million in today's money. Compare that to modern fighters. F-35s cost $80 million, F-15EXs exceed $90 million. The Sabre was affordable enough for mass production. North American aviation built nearly 10,000 Sabres across all variants. This quantity created its own quality. American forces could deploy Sabres everywhere, ensuring numerical superiority. The affordability came from relatively simple construction and mass production techniques refined during World War II. No advanced avionics, no complicated weapon systems, just a gun sight, 6 machine guns, and a jet engine. This simplicity made the Sabre reliable, maintainable, and cheap. Modern fighters are technological marvels but cost prohibitive. The Sabre proved you could win through affordable mass production. 11. First supersonic and dive. The F-86 could break the sound barrier, but only in a dive. It wasn't supersonic in level flight, but during Korean combat, F-86 pilots routinely went supersonic during aggressive dive attacks. They'd climb high, roll inverted, and dive on targets below. Gravity and engine thrust combined to push them through Mach 1. The sonic boom announced their arrival. This was impressive for an aircraft designed in the 1940s. Most jets of that generation couldn't go supersonic at all, even in dives. The Sabre's swept wings and clean aerodynamics allowed it. Pilots loved the capability because it gave them energy advantages. Dive supersonic, attack, then zoom back up using that speed. It wasn't true supersonic performance, but it pushed boundaries and previewed what was coming next in fighter evolution. 10. Dog Sabre version. The F-86D variant, nicknamed Dog Sabre, was an all-weather interceptor that initially had no guns, zero. It relied entirely on Mighty Mouse unguided rockets fired from a retractable belly tray. Designers believed rockets would replace guns entirely. Pilots absolutely hated it. The rockets were inaccurate and unreliable. Without guns, pilots felt defenseless. If rockets missed, you had nothing. The backlash was immediate and loud. Later variants added guns back, acknowledging the mistake. The F-86D still served as an interceptor hunting Soviet bombers during the Cold War, but the all-missile configuration proved premature. This lesson was forgotten and relearned with the F-4 Phantom in Vietnam, which also initially lacked an internal gun. Some mistakes repeat across generations because planners forget that missiles fail. 9. Canadian Sabre superior. Canadian-built Sabres were better than American originals. Canada licensed the F-86 design and built their own variants with significant improvements. The most notable change was replacing the American J-47 engine with the Canadian Orenda engine. The Orenda produced more thrust and was more reliable. Canadian Sabres accelerated faster, climbed quicker, and outperformed American versions in nearly every metric. European air forces that operated both variants noticed the difference immediately. Some specifically requested Canadian Sabres over American ones. This was diplomatically awkward. America sells Canada a fighter design, Canada improves it, then sells the superior version to Europe. Canadian engineers essentially fixed American shortcomings and made money doing it. The Canadair Sabre proved that sometimes licensees improve on original designs through local innovation and engineering excellence. 8. Blue Angel's first jet. The U.S. Navy's Blue Angels demonstration team flew F-86 Sabres from 1949, making them the first jet aircraft the team used. This transition from propeller-driven aircraft to jets was revolutionary for airshow demonstrations. It proved jets could be graceful, not just fast and loud. The Blue Angels Sabre routines introduced millions of Americans to jet aviation. Crowds watched these sleek, swept-wing jets perform aerobatics that seemed impossible. The noise, the speed, the presence sold America in the jet age. The team's success with Sabres established the template for all future jet demonstration teams worldwide. Tight formations, synchronized maneuvers, crowd-pleasing passes, all perfected with F-86s. The Sabres flew with the Blue Angels until 1954. Those years fundamentally changed public perception of military aviation. The F-86 made jets accessible and exciting to ordinary Americans. 7. Korean War propaganda. The famous 10-to-1 kill ratio might be exaggerated. Both American and Soviet/Chinese forces inflated their claims during the Korean War. Fog of war, multiple pilots claiming the same kill, damaged aircraft counted as destroyed, all contributed to inflated statistics. Modern historical analysis suggests the real ratio was probably closer to 6-to-1 or 7-to-1. Still impressive, but not legendary 10-to-1. Soviet records claim their pilots shot down far more Sabres than Americans admit. American records claim more MiG kills than Soviets admit. The truth is somewhere between. Both sides engaged in propaganda. The Sabre was definitely superior in Korean conditions, but the mythological kill ratio is partly wartime propaganda that became accepted history. This doesn't diminish accomplishments. A 6-to-1 or 7-to-1 ratio is still dominant performance. 6. Hydraulic boot kick. The F-86's rudder pedals had hydraulic boost to help pilots control the aircraft at high speeds. This innovation made control inputs easier and more precise. But there was a problem. The hydraulic boost was too powerful. During hard maneuvers, the rudder pedals would kick pilots' feet completely off the controls. The hydraulic pressure physically overpowered pilots' legs. Imagine flying at 600 miles per hour, trying to line up a shot, and your rudder pedals literally kick your feet away. Pilots learned to brace their legs firmly against the pedals, fighting the hydraulic boost to maintain control. It became part of Sabre training, how to not get your feet kicked off the rudders. This was innovation that needed refinement. The concept was right, but the implementation was overly aggressive. Later aircraft calibrated hydraulic boost more carefully. 5. Women built them. The F-86 Sabre was built largely by women. World War II had brought millions of women into aviation manufacturing as Rosie the Riveters. When the war ended, many stayed in the workforce. North American aviation's factories employed thousands of women assembling, riveting, and inspecting Sabres throughout production. These women were skilled technicians, not just unskilled labor. They operated complex machinery, performed precision assembly, and maintained quality control. The F-86 that dominated Korean skies was built by female hands in California factories. This contribution is often erased from popular history. We remember the pilots, all men in that era, but forget the women who built every single aircraft. Without their labor, expertise, and dedication, there would be no Sabres. The Korean War air victory belongs to everyone. 4. Pakistani Sabres versus Indian Hunters. The F-86's combat legacy extended far beyond Korea. During the 1965 Indo-Pakistani War, Pakistani F-86s dominated Indian Hawker hunters and other aircraft. Pakistani pilots shot down numerous Indian jets using Sabres that were over a decade old. The kill ratios were impressive, proving the Sabre remained lethal in the right hands long after Korean War glory. Indian forces had newer, theoretically superior aircraft, but Pakistani training and tactics combined with the Sabre's qualities achieved consistent victories. This pattern repeated in the 1971 war, though by then the Sabre was increasingly outmatched by jets like the Indian MiG-21. The Pakistani experience proved that old jets in capable hands could still win. The F-86 remained competitive decades after introduction because its fundamental design was sound. Simple, reliable, effective qualities never become obsolete. 3. Never truly supersonic. Despite marketing claims and pilot stories, the F-86 was not a supersonic jet. It could exceed Mach 1 in a dive using gravity to push through the sound barrier temporarily. But in level flight, the Sabre topped out subsonic, usually around Mach 0.9. This distinction matters. True supersonic aircraft can sustain speeds above Mach 1 in level flight. The F-86 couldn't. The swept wings delayed compressibility effects but didn't eliminate them. The engine didn't produce enough thrust for sustained supersonic flight. The F-100 Super Sabre was America's first true supersonic fighter. Marketing often blurred this distinction. The F-86 was called supersonic capable, which was technically true but misleading. It was a transonic aircraft, operating in that zone between subsonic and supersonic. First-generation jets were transitional technology, pushing toward capabilities they couldn't quite achieve. 2. Outlived its era. The F-86 Sabre served operationally into the 1990s with some air forces over 40 years after its first flight. Bolivia finally retired its last Sabres in 1994. A jet designed in the 1940s for the Korean War was still flying during the Gulf War era. Why such longevity? The Sabre was simple, reliable, and easy to maintain. Developing nations couldn't afford modern fighters, but could keep Sabres operational cheaply. Parts were plentiful from thousands built. Maintenance was straightforward without complex systems. The jet remained useful for training, light attack, and patrol missions even when hopelessly outclassed. Countries flew Sabres alongside Fi-16s in some cases, a generational gap of 40 years operating simultaneously. The F-86's longevity proves that simple, effective designs never truly die. They just move to smaller air forces and less demanding roles. 1. Saved aviation industry. The F-86. Sabre saved the American aviation industry from post-war collapse and created the template for all future fighters. After World War II, military aircraft orders plummeted, factories closed, engineers were laid off, companies faced bankruptcy. The Sabre program reversed this decline. Nearly 10,000 aircraft built meant sustained production, employment, and technological development. But more importantly, the F-86 proved jets could be mass-produced affordably and effectively. It established design principles that every subsequent fighter followed: swept wings, hydraulic controls, pressurized cockpits, radar-ranging gun sights. The Sabre was the prototype for the F-15, F-16, even the F-35 in terms of design philosophy. Without the F-86's success, there might be no American fighter jet industry. The program created infrastructure, trained engineers, and established America as the aviation superpower. Every modern fighter traces lineage back to lessons learned from the Sabre, and there you have it. 15 weird facts proving the F-86 Sabre changed aviation history forever. From Nazi research to Canadian improvements to outlasting its entire generation, this Korean War legend built the foundation for modern air power. Which facts surprised you most? The women who built them or Bolivia flying them into the 1990s? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more fighter jet deep dives. We'll see you in the skies.